You slump down on the wooden bench, stretching your legs. You've been traveling for nearly a week now toward a small village called Dragonholt. Here is the letter that was written to us by Celise. You can see it unfolds here. And again, spoiler alert, guys. Here we go. My friends, I pray this finds you in good health. I write to you because I fear, F-A-E-R, something sinister is at work here in Dragonholt, and I require your assistance. Please help me. There is more at stake than you know. Celise. Excuse me, is this road the fastest way to Dragonholt? I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Excuse me, is this road the fastest way to Dragonholt? Hey, if you're going to Dragonholt, you'll have to go through the Eventide Forest. Miriam turns to face you. Well, what are you waiting for? If that's the road to Dragonholt, let's be off. We're starting with 2 new roads, which is the first scenario. It's a 50 to 80 minute scenario playtime. And we're going to get busy on it right away. And we have met the gnome Miriam, who we were learning to was pretty out there, and Braxton, her orcish bodyguard. With a last fleeting glance at the crossroads signpost, you follow after the energetic gnome, who has already started off toward Eventide Forest. I'm glad you asked, bubbles Miriam. I'm going to set up the finest apothecary shop that Dragonholt has ever seen. You liked that pot. I'm sorry it was ruined. It's fine, says Miriam brightly. It sure came in handy when you blundered into those spider webs. I remember that differently, says Braxton. You didn't have to come in after me, pouts Miriam. What about you? Asks Miriam. What are you planning to do in Dragonholt? Before you can answer, she hunches over and crooks one finger like a sinister hook, putting a sneer into her voice. Are you seeking vengeance? In the darkness of Eventide Forest, a chilling stillness reigns, and even bird songs are drowned out by silence. You continue onward, Miriam's usual banter quieted by her new mood, one part fascination and one part fear. Braxton keeps an ever-vigilant eye on the surroundings, her hand now resting on the pommel of the blade at her waist. As you round the bend, you see Miriam staring up at a single massive tree that stands alone in the center of a clearing some 20 paces across. This is our first item. It is a wooden trinket, and it looks like a little badger. It says, you found an intricate wooden trinket to the great oak Eventide Forest. Just then you hear rustling in the thick bush on one side of the camp and recall Braxton's warning about bandits. Okay, here's our decision process, guys. Watch for further movement or signs of danger. Arm yourself and take a closer look. Wake your fellow traveling companions. Now, all right, everybody, here we are for our continuation of our next episode of Legacy of Dragonholt, where we were in a kind of a cliffhanger scenario where Connor Sharpfang has heard noise out in the thick brush of the woods, and he's recalled the stories of the bandits existing out there. So I polled the group, and it looks like the consensus from the few responses I got in regards to this are to wake up your fellow traveling companions. So that is what we're going to do. So let's get rolling. And we know that Connor Sharpfang, he stalks over and goes, wake up. Wake up, there's something out there. And we're going to move from there to entry 8267. Now we know that Connor also was the only one with his token, his activation token flipped over to the positive side, because that's what the entry allowed him to do when he was awake during the watch. So let's read 8267. You stand and quickly shake the others awake. Braxton listens to your report and nods, rolling swiftly and quietly to her feet and grabbing her shield and sword. Miriam rolls over and pulls her blanket over her head. Probably just some animals. Wake me when there's actual danger. To arms, calls Braxton as a group of rough-looking figures pour out of the trees. Miriam throws her blanket off and scrambles to her feet. Okay, I'm awake! There are at least a half a dozen of them, wearing torn, stained clothing and scraps of leather armor. The firelight glimmers on their long knives and steel arrowheads. Bandits! Read 5912. Looks like we're about to get into a scrape, guys. Let's see. More and more bandits step into the firelight. Their armor and weapons seem crude but sufficient to the purpose. Braxton grips her sword in her right hand, doing her best to keep herself and her shield between Miriam and all the bandits. So here's our choices. I think we're going to go with our warrior, Adenar, at this point, since that would mean everybody's token flipped over because Connor went. So everybody's token is back. And it says, draw your weapons and engage the bandits, knock an arrow and fire at the bandits. That requires archery, which none of my characters actually have. Toss a flask of explosive liquids at the bandit. That requires alchemy. Well, we could have Bella do that. Attempt to reason with the bandits, 4734. I think my instincts are telling me we're going to fight these guys. So I'm thinking the flask of explosive liquids might actually get more than one of them, and there's several of them. So I think that's what we're going to do. Now we have 6 total people with the 2 NPCs that are with us. So that should be enough to take care of this, right? Yeah, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to activate Bella Candlelight, our gnome. She actually has alchemy as one of her, she's a gnome bard, but she does have alchemy as one of her skills. So we're going to do that. Toss a flask of explosive liquid at the bandit. So that is entry 6397, which was right next door. So it says, you hurl a flask containing one of your own concoctions to shatter on the hard earth. The substance erupts into flickering red flame, just as you intended. Well, approximately as you intended. The flames lick as 2 of the nearby bandits, spreading to their tattered breeches and tunics. The bandits run, screaming, beating at the fire as it threatens to consume them. But the remaining bandits give the pool of flickering fire a wide berth and close in. Miriam flourishes one of her own flasks. Not bad, she says. Looks like a variant of Lorimore fire, right? I don't think either of us have enough of that handy to deal with all these bandits, though. Also, says Braxton through gritted teeth, I would prefer if no one set fire to the forest until I was well out of it. Okay, so we're going to move to entry 4300. Braxton hefts a heavy steel shield and slashes her longsword threateningly at one of the approaching bandits. Miriam produces 2 flasks and unstoppers one of them. A thick, acrid smoke pours from its open mouth as she holds it aloft, ready to throw. 3 of the bandits suddenly rush forward, charging the camp. Miriam hurls the smoking flask, which smashes against one of their bucklers. A billowing cloud of acidic fog erupts from the impact site. The bandit shrieks and flails, dropping his buckler to the ground as it dissolves. The 2 other bandits continue their charge, one swinging an axe at Miriam, but Braxton catches the blade with her longsword and slams her shield into the man, sending him tumbling to the ground. The 3rd bandit dodges around Braxton and darts forward straight toward you. Spear point trained at your chest. Well, we're definitely going to be activating Adenar at this point, I would think. So I'm going to activate Adenar's token. We're going to do there. Dodge the attack, catch the spear, disarm the bandit, deflect the spear and counterattack. Blast the bandit with a rude. We're going to deflect the spear and counterattack. It requires dueling or military. We have both. So we're going to do that. That is going to be 8. So the bandit charges toward Adenar with a spear and jabs the spear at him. He's going to block it. He deflects it with his shield and counterattacks with his sword using his dueling and military capabilities. With instincts born of long training, you brace yourself, readying to parry the incoming thrust and counterattack. As long as you don't slip up, you can drop the bandit in a single attack. If you have agility skill or athletic skill, read entry 9608. Well, good thing is that he does have athletics. He does not have agility, though, but he does have athletics. So we're going to go to 9608, and that means we're not going to slip up. We're going to take this bandit out. You swing your weapon to deflect the spear, knocking the lethal point aside as falling up with a riposte. Your attack catches the bandit off guard and leaves him bleeding on the grass. You step back, taking a moment to assess the situation. If story point H3 is marked, read 6577. Story point H3 is not marked, so otherwise read 9513. For Kala and Harmon, bellows Braxton. In the flickering firelight, she seems a demon from a nightmare, huge and dark and powerful. 3 of the bandits attempt to surround her, but she pivots away, slamming her shield into one and knocking her down, then slashing the second one and sending him screaming into the dark, clutching at his face. She trades blows with a large human, his axe sliding off her shield, her sword flickering past his face as he dances backwards. You notice a bandit with his hair in a long braid creeping up behind Braxton with a knife glimmering in his hand. Focused as Braxton is on her battle with the large bandit, she clearly hasn't noticed. Well, this seems like a job for Connor. Some thievish bandit is sneaking up behind Braxton. So Connor Sharpfang is going to take the lead and go after that bandit. Okay, here's what we have to do. Intercept the approaching bandit, catch the bandit from behind, stop the bandit with an alchemical concoction. We're going to catch the bandit from behind. Read 9250. So that seems like something Connor Sharpfang, the cat thief, would do. Moving as quickly as you can on silent feet, you drift up behind the braided bandit. He lifts his knife, ready to bring it down onto Braxton's necks. Sorry guys, I am actually still sick, so I'm really trying hard with this. Okay, he lifts his knife, ready to bring it down onto Braxton's neck, and you reach to grab it from behind, or grab him from behind. If you have stealth, which we do, thank God, because I picked the right character, we're going to read 45. Pretty intense battle we have going on here. Let's go do that. You grab the braided bandit from behind, twist and pivot him around your hips, sending him tumbling to the ground with an indignified yowl. As he struggles to stand, you plant one foot on his back and shove, sending him sprawling yet again, this time into your campfire. He screams and shoots to his feet, running in random loops as he attempts to beat the flames out of his hair and clothing. He staggers into another bandit, sending both sprawling, and then you shift your attention elsewhere. Read entry 2004. So 2004 is next. Your companions are still locked in combat with the bandits, who swarm around the edges of the light provided by your campfire. Screaming incoherently, a scared bandit rushes at you. In one hand he brandishes a studded iron mace. The other arm ends in a steel hook, its metal glinting in the firelight. Well, the only person we have left is Nim. I hope we can do something with Nim. Nim's a sage after all, but he does have some good skills. So, rush forward to engage the bandit. Brace yourself to receive his charge requires military skill, which we don't have. Flee and attack at range requires arcana skill, archery skill, or thievery skill. We have arcana. This option does not exhaust your token. And then we read that, then we can protect ourselves with an alchemical mixture. So I think we're going to flee and attack at range using our arcana skill. So that's going to be Nim. We are activating Nim. That will be the last of our characters to activate in the fight. So as he's watching his companions battle around him, Bandit charges him with a mace and a hooked hand. He's going to then flee and attack at range using his arcana skill. Let's see what that does. You maneuver through the melee, dodging around Braxton and another orc woman. Then you break away from the fray, sprinting towards the great oak, hoping to put enough range between yourself and the bandit so that you can attack from relatives safely. If you have agility or athletics, okay, we're going to stumble on this one. We don't. So otherwise we're going to read 6332. I think we might be in a little bit of trouble, but we'll see. The bandit gives chase and keeps close behind you no matter how hard you run. You duck behind the campfire, then sprint for the great oak, then circle back around the entire clearing. The bandit stays only a step behind you the whole way. Your legs burn and your breath rattles in your chest, but still the bandit keeps pace behind you. Okay, so you lose one stamina token, so right now Nim has gone down to 9 stamina. He's only got 10. You exhaust your action token. Done. Finally, on another loop back around the great oak, your foot catches in an unseen tree root and you go sprawling. The bandit looms above you, his hook gleaming, and then suddenly flames erupt all across his back. Screaming, the bandit falls over, rolling around and tearing at his leather jerkin with his good hand in an attempt to put out the flame. Miriam calls out to you, "Quit playing around! These guys mean business, and I don't mean the kind that we profit from." Read entry 2399. So Miriam came to the rescue of Nim by throwing some alchemical fire and hitting this bandit in the back. Now we're going to move to 2399. You find yourself standing in a loose circle with your companions and no bandits close at hand. Even more of the enemy emerge from the trees. However, they begin to surround you. "What now?" breathes Miriam. You're sure it's the first time you've heard fear in her voice. The bandit leader chuckles and speaks, causing the firelight to play off the long scar on the side of his face in a sinister way. "Drop your valuables and leave. There is no need for you to die here." The other bandits hoot and howl and brandish their blades and axes in the air in front of you. Braxton glances sideways at you. "There are too many of them. We cannot win this fight. She edges backwards and notice you lean in the direction. You notice her lean in the direction of Dragonholt. You can't have my gold. I'll be using it to start a business. Oh wait, you can't have my gold. I'll be using it to start my business, hissed Miriam. Despite the bite in her words, you notice her hands trembling. Fend off the bandits long enough for the others to escape requires brawling, dueling, and military. Well, since all of our characters have gone, they are now reactivated. So we can do a bunch of things here. Let's see what our options are. Create a diversion and flee towards Dragonholt. That requires deception or performance. Well, we have that in spades. Create a smokescreen and escape towards Dragonholt requires alchemy. Well, let's let our bard have her day, right? Well, she did have her day. She burst the fire thing in the beginning, and now she's going to have her day again. So we're going to activate Bella. While Braxton and Aiden are contemplating the ability to survive this battle, she creates a diversion. She's going to use her performance skill or deception, whichever one, 5280, and we're going to see if we can get away from these bandits. Using the darkness to your advantage, you throw your voice, making it sound as if soldiers are approaching through the trees. "The village guard!" yells one bandit. "Here! Leg it, lads!" "It's a trick, you credulous clods," bellows the bandit leader, but the panic that ripples through his minions is enough for you and your companions to slip away. "After them!" Read 3645. Good job, Bella. We did at least get the ability to run. Now let's see if we can actually get away. You run through Eventide Forest, scrambling and stumbling as you go. You are surprised to discover that you can see, and you realize that the sun must already be rising somewhere beyond the trees. Time passes. So you know what that means. That means we got to take our 2 new roads and check out another time unit, which we have now done. The narrow and twisting path soon comes to a steep climb with a rocky outcropping that rises on either side. A large standing stone towers to your right. You can hear the bandits still coming behind you, shouting to their fellows like hounds on the hunt. But any pursuer will have to scramble up the same narrow gulch. Tip over the standing stone and block the path. Flee with your bow. Fire with your bow from high up the ground. We don't have archery. We can't do that. Set a trap for the approaching bandits. Survival. Well, I think tipping the stone seems too, I don't know, it doesn't seem very effective to me, but Connor hasn't gone yet, so I think what we'll have is Connor Sharpfang. He goes, I can put up a trap against these fellows. Let me do it. And so he does. He's going to set a trap. We're going to go to entry 3575, and we're going to try and set a trap for the bandits so we can flee. You quickly make a set of snares that you tether to young trees at the top of the gulch. Then you cover them with a handful of leaves and gravel. You urge your companions on and fall back as the bandits grow closer, hooting and baying as they come. Their shouts turn into cries of alarm as you hear the first of your snares yank a bandit off his feet. Entry 5129. With the bandits occupied by your efforts back at the gulch, you are able to gain a considerable lead on them. The rocky terrain continues to rise up around you. The trees of Eventide Forest becoming smaller and scrappier as you go. Soon you come to a sheer cliff face. Only a few scraggly trees cling to the rocks rising above you. Sunlight spills across the sky above the cliff, a promise of freedom and safety. You could climb up to the top, but it would be a challenge. The path continues to the left a fair distance, then becomes a tight switchback crawling up to the top of the rise. It would be a safer route to the top, but slower than the climbing directly. If we climb the face, we're going to go to 4055. If we go to the switchback, okay, that's a tough choice. Who's going to make that choice? I think Nim will make that choice. He's pretty bright. So that'll just leave Adenar to go in case we have another fight we have to deal with. Do we want to climb? Let me see. Out of all of our people, we have 3 of them that have some form of agility or athletics. 2 of them, anyway. Yeah, 2. I don't know. I think we're going to have to run for the switchback path with our characters. We're not necessarily all the most athletic of people. So we're going to run for the switchback path, 9716, and hopefully that does not get us killed and end our journey early. This way, yells Nim. You sprint for the switchback trail. Covering the distance in short order, Braxton swings Miriam over her shoulders without breaking stride. The gnome contents herself with a single squawk of protest. When you reach the bottom of the switchbacks, you are already out of breath. You each lose 2 stamina unless you have endurance skill. Interestingly enough, I don't think any of our characters actually have endurance. So we're all going to lose 2 stamina. Just to give you an idea, that's going to put Nim at 8, Adenar at 10, Bella at 10, and Connor at 10. Since I'm looking just to be sure, no, none of them have endurance. Okay, that was probably a skill I probably should have taken, but didn't. You start the climb, but haven't reached the first turning when the bandits emerge from the trees. Hollowing like hounds on the scent, they rush after you. 2 of their number fall back, knocking arrows and launching them into your direction. You each lose 2 stamina unless you have the agility skill. Oh, this is getting rough, guys. Wow. All right, well, Connor has agility, so he won't lose any stamina. Bella is going to go to 8, as is Adenar, and wow, Nim is at 6 already. Okay, so here's our options. This will be Adenar. Throw rocks at the bandits. Return fire with your bow. Block the path behind you. That requires awareness and survival. He doesn't have either of those. And because he's the last character to go, so this has to be this character. Blast the path with magic runes. I guess we're going to throw rocks at the bandits because that's really all he can do. 82-63. Man, we should have had Archer with our group too, making me regret some decisions here, huh? You and your companions gather rocks and begin to hurl them down at the bandits below. Ha-ha! Adenar shouts at them. Some of your rocks impact on arms and legs, but even the ones that miss knock others loose from the rocky terrain, causing a small cascade of screaming gravel to pelt and harass your pursuers. Driven back by a steady assault of stones and probably just as tired as you are, the bandits turn back and retreat into the forest. You have escaped. Go to entry 99. That was harrowing, guys. Wow. Oh, we're breathing heavy. We all get to turn our tokens over again because I believe we're about to get to Dragonholt Village. As the sun climbs above the trees, you continue your journey towards Dragonholt. At your new elevation, the trees are smaller and farther apart, and at some point you have passed an invisible barrier, where you are not in a forest so much as a rocky plain with occasional trees. Okay, it's a proverbial barrier, not a real one. Dragonholt lies below, and you can see the beacon tower rising above the trees, the sun climbing the sky behind it. You have less than an hour of walking before you. So that means we're going to check another time passes, so we're at 5 time total for our tracking sheet for the quest 2 New Roads. At length, apologies for the interruption, but let's continue. At length you walk through an orchard, the twisted trees heavy with fruit and propped up by weathered boards and poles. Then you find yourself on Dragonholt's main street, walking beneath the dueling dragon statues that serve as the closest thing to a city gate. One dragon is carved from black stone, the other from white, and they arch across the streets above you, not quite touching. Marvelous, breathes Braxton. Some sort of memorial of the Dragon Wars, says Miriam. This way, she says, and skips down the cobbled streets as if she hadn't been walked in the middle of the night by bandits. This continues. You cross a crowded village green that is laid out before a garden shrine with a domed glass ceiling. In front of the shrine stands a marble spire, atop which burns a beacon fire. Then you pass a building dark with soot and marred by broken windows. Miriam pauses at the intersection and peers down the 2 side streets before nodding vigorously and leading the way south. We'll get a proper breakfast as soon as we find my aunt's inn, she says. It's called the Swan. Does it have a lovely white swan painted on this sign? Asks Braxton. Yes, it does, says Miriam. Then is that it? Just there, she pointed, and Miriam beams. That's it, let's go! She rushes off in a fresh burst of energy, leaving you stumbling along behind. When you finally reach the Swan, you find Miriam babbling excitedly to a gnome who looks almost excitedly like her, or exactly like her, plus 20 years. You must be Miriam's friends, says the older woman. I'm Miriam's aunt, Sapphire. It's good to meet you. She welcomes you inside, and you step into a blessedly cool, half-sunken common room, where a scattering of thick oak tables and sturdy chairs lies beneath rafters strung with herbs and roots and vegetables. Thick iron lanterns rest on each table, none lit now, and light streams in from the tall windows against the south wall. Please have a seat, says your host, and you do. We made it, says Braxton, dropping heavily into a chair that creaks under her weight. I think I could sleep for a week. None of that, says Miriam. We have work to do. Braxton lifts her head and glares. Starting tomorrow. I guess let's all take today off. Miriam vanishes into the back room, then appears in a few minutes later with a tray rattling with glass bottles and red liquid. Here, she says, and distributes the bottles. It's the least I can do for helping us get me to safety. You gain 3 healing potions. Item A. Distribute the potions amongst yourselves as you choose. Item A is a healing potion. The liquid burns your throat like bitter fire, but quickly heals open wounds and broken bones. When you drink this potion, you recover half of your stamina to maximum. So we're not going to drink those now, but I'm going to give a healing potion to Nim because, well, he's the most squishy. I'm going to give one to Adenar because he's our fighter. And I'll give the last one to Connor because he might also be fighting, right? So each of them have a healing potion, and that is item A. And that's the card for it right there. So I'm just going to put that back because there's no need to have it out right now. And we're going to read about healing potions. You can carry multiple healing potions. However, there's only one copy of the healing potion item card, which should be shared as a reference amongst all players. Some items, healing potions included, have additional effects listed on the item card. You may drink a potion at any time. To do so, you must have at least one potion recorded on your character sheet. When you drink a healing potion, reduce the number of healing potions you have by 1 and recover half your maximum stamina. If playing with 2 or more heroes, you can drink a potion only if your activation token is not exhausted. In addition, you may give any number of potions or other items to another hero at any time, but only if your activation token is not exhausted. Drinking a potion or giving your item to another hero does not exhaust your activation token. But wait, there's more! Sapphire returns a moment later with a large tray, overflowing with plates of yellow eggs, loaves of dark brown bread, and a tall pitcher of milk. I hope you'll stay at the Swan for as long as you like, she says. No charge, of course. Not after what you went through to get my Miriam here safely. Miriam pours everyone a glass of milk. She holds hers aloft and exclaims, "To new roads!" Braxton takes a glass, holds it up, and looks from Miriam to Sapphire to you, to new friends. The meal is amazing, and you soon collapse in rooms provided by your generous host. You doze through the majority of the day. After dinner, you rest in the commons room, chatting idly with Braxton and another patron. Soon, the lack of a good night's sleep is too much, and you retire to your room. You will have to explore Dragonholt on the morrow. Okay, so a bunch of things happen at this point. You each recover half of your maximum stamina. Okay, well that means we're all back to normal health. That's good because none of us were down. Well, so even Nim, who is down 4 total stamina, will go back up to 10. That's good. You each recover 1 skill. We didn't have to worry about that. You each refresh your activations token. That's good because we would have had them all deactivated at this point, I guess. You each gain 1 experience point. So I'm going to mark 1 experience point in each of their boxes. And that goes on their individual sheets. And then it says your fame increases by 1. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So here's our Legacy of Dragonholt main sheet that has all of our story markers on it. So our fame is going to go from 2 to 3. That is good. The quest is complete. Read entry 101 in the Dragonholt Village book. Okay, so let's talk about these things and then we'll complete our quest. At the end of a quest, or after a particularly harrowing event, an effect might cause you to gain 1 or more experience. Experience is an abstract measure of what you have learned during your adventures. Record the amount of experience you have accrued on your character sheet. You will be able to spend your experience to learn new skills in the future. Earning fame. As you and your companions continue your adventures, you will accrue fame. Fame is an abstract measure of how well known you are to the public and how they feel about you as heroes. A high fame indicates that you are well known and well liked by the community. Fame is recorded for the group as a whole on the story tracking sheet. Completing quests. You have now completed the two New Roads quest. You will no longer read any entries from this quest book. When you complete a quest, an effect will instruct you to read an entry from another quest book. You will continue the story in that quest book. Just after completing a quest is a great time to take a break. You might wish to stop playing for now and pick it up from here at a later date. If so, record the entry number and the book you have been directed to on the story tracking sheet so you can pick up where you left off. Well, we will do that, so we know that in our notes we're going to go to 1001 in the Dragonholt Village book. Okay. And that is where we're going to break for today. Now, in the next session, we will wake up in the morning with our heroes, and we will check out the Dragonholt Village. I bet you this big map's going to come into play, as well as some other cool stuff that we'll get to see. And, by the way, the Dragonholt Village book is a beast. It looks like it's it has page numbers, has entry numbers, but I would say it's a good 128-page book, and it's one of several. Now, it's the biggest one, and you can see that the adventure book that we just went through, which kept us going for a good hour, is just, a paper book, but it had a lot of great content in it, and I really enjoyed the story. So, okay, for the story time, we're going to break here, and we're going to talk a little bit about ending the session. When next we meet, we will be going to Dragonholt Village, entry 1001 in that book, and we'll start our adventures there. And I think that's really where it takes off. To new roads. Man, what a great little adventure. I really enjoyed that. I was actually feeling the tension of it as we were being chased by the bandits and all that stuff was happening, and us having to make decisions on who was going to do what with their skills, and realizing I was missing some key skills in that. That was really cool. I hope you guys agree. Really neat. And, the little props, like this awesome letter from Celise, and the item cards. Man, really well done. The art is cool, and it describes it well. And I didn't think, there's only, there's only like 30 item cards, but if some of them are, see, there really all are here, but if some of them are based on like multiple items, like, we have this wooden trinket, which is just a single item. But I think that we're going to get to see more. And then you look at this Dragonholt Village tracking sheet. I can't wait to find out what all of this stuff does. Like, there's this day one stuff, the things that happen just because it's that day. And then progress and things we can study and things we can learn. And then, what did it mean to get all of these story points? I bet you they have an effect later on. I bet you we're going to encounter those stupid bandits again, and that bandit leader with the scar. And ponytail guy that we threw in the fire and he got all burned up, he's going to come back. He's going to be like, I don't remember what the guy's name, that got his first face burned by Negan in The Walking Dead. It keeps coming back. Yeah, I think it's just cool. And I love storytelling. You guys know that about me if you watch any of my videos. I love storytelling games. This is one of them. This is so fun. I'm going to be playing this. Even though I've been through this first adventure, I'm going to be playing this with my family over the weekend. Probably, I think tonight we're starting. It's Friday. And so I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad I finished the first adventure with you guys, because I'm going to need that book for today. Not that it matters. I mean, you keep track of all your entries. It's not like it's a big deal, as long as you've printed off extra sheets to keep track of things. So that was To New Roads. It says it's 50 to 80 minutes long. And even with the filming, it was about that. So somewhere in between there. So that's about right. And again, I mean, this book is a beast of a book. It is so thick, and it's got so much stuff in it. And not artwork. It's all text. It's thick, man. We're going to have a lot of adventures. Plus, there are how many other books? There's this journal, which we haven't even seen yet. And then there's Silver of Silver, Crypt of Cthulhu, Whispering Leaves, Terror on the Prairie, Paper Faces, and the Paper Faces one is probably the finale or something, I would guess, because it's pretty big. But they're all, I mean, none of them they're all at least the same size as To New Roads or bigger. And then, again, the Dragonholt Village book, which is super thick. So I'm really excited. We're going to take Adenar, Bella, Nim, and Connor to continue our adventures, alongside Miriam and Braxton, who are really neat, well-developed characters. I really enjoy that part of it. And they join us on these adventures. And I think they continue to join us because I think that we continue, I would imagine, to use the Swan as our base of operations, so to speak. So I can't wait to see you in the next one. We're going to continue with Dragonholt Village. Now remember, I am going to continue this, so it is going to be spoiler-filled, guys. But look forward for the next one, and I will see you next time. Please don't forget to get some more subscribers. I got to do a channel update because I did pass one of my subscriber goals. The next one, I want to get to 4,500 really quickly. Help me get there, guys. Spread the word. Throw my name around there. Get people to come watch these videos. I do put a lot of effort into them, and I want you to enjoy them just like the other folks that are doing it. Don't forget that there are two other Legacy of Dragonholt adventures going on right now. One with Colin on the One Stop Co-op Shop. You can find that in the cards up on the right hand of the screen if you just click on the little eye. And then you will also see the one for Rolling Solo, Adam Rolling Solo. You're gonna have that one as well. Plus, I may list this if I can go back and find the link, but I was also watching a live playthrough of this with the Dice Tower, Tom Vassell, Mr. Healy, and Mr. Garcia doing that. That was really cool to watch. It was done live. They're really hamming it up with the role playing, which I'd love to do too if I had more than myself playing. But I'm trying to add some role playing in for you guys as well. Anyway, we're going to leave it at that, and next time we'll see you in Dragonholt Village.